Good morning, everyone. This is Tuesday, the Ron G Morning Show. And do we have a special guest for you? Event planner, tea lady, our very own Erica Powers. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. You are here. We are here live this afternoon, straight up at noontime. I got Erica Powers in here. She just don't know. She interrupted my lunch schedule, but I'll have her buy me lunch down the line. No, I'm
Oh
just
my
kidding.
gosh.
But I ran across Erica years ago, and we've been talking back and forth. She's been on the show a few times and everything. Erica, she is always doing something around the community. I like the little, I'm gonna call it tea parties that you were doing. You were
hmm
doing that, and you were doing what was it? Name that too? No, something like that. Because you was out of Chicago Bites, a couple other places doing things. And
Is
it's
it me or is
just,
it you?
huh?
Okay, it froze for a second. I don't know if that was me or you.
Oh, that's
After
me.
tea parties, it froze.
Yeah, well, they said it's my internet connection. I got Google Fiber. It shouldn't be nothing like that, but
Okay.
anyway, that's just how it is. But I met this young lady and years ago. I think the first interview I had with her, I was in the museum.
hmm
And we were talking in the museum, and ever since then we've been staying connected and in contact. And I tell you what, sometimes when I sit here, I think of people's on the show, and I call them just to check on them. And if anybody know me, I will call you back. If you give me sell me, Ron, don't call. I won't call you. But I follow up on a lot of people I interview with because I want to know the progress and what they're doing. And Erica, I'm gonna give you a chance to introduce yourself before I get into the first question. So go for it.
Okay. Well, Ron, that was a short, too humble introduction of what you do. You do check on people and you do call back and you do check in and you show up. So I appreciate that. I remember, I think one of the last times I saw you was at Chicago Bite, when I was doing a trivia, event. And so I want to say thank you for being so consistent. And, we need hearts and minds like yours. And it's definitely something I can't even put a value on, invaluable. So I appreciate that. And yes, you do that. And we've stayed in contact over the years. So, but thank you. I'm glad to talk to you again. I know you were just checking up on me recently and we talked about my latest venture. So my name is Erica Powers. I'm an MC and event planner. I focus mostly on tea parties lately, and right now I'm launching a new venue here in town for our community, and I'm very excited about that. It's called Power Palace, and I am just about connecting people and creating those intimate connecting opportunities, whether I'm hosting a room full of people or only 10. I think it's very important for us to share stories, just like you, and just learn what everyone is going on and feed off of each other. And I'm really big about making things not serious in this way too serious world. I don't know
Yeah.
why people feel like they got to grow up and be mean and ugly and serious. I'm not trying to do all that. So anyway, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, and she's right, because we read about it every day. And I'm gonna start, I'm already working on it. A project of mine I'm working on is bringing the good humor and the good news.
Mm,
I'm working on that project right now because I think we cut on the TV anytime and hear all the doom and gloom, but we never hear what ordinary people are doing. And
yes.
the only time we hear that is on Sunday evening news and they have nothing else put in, so they put us on there. We do good more than just on Sunday. We do it
Amen to
every
that.
day, but
No,
it's
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 true.
doom and gloom. I hate to say that, but it sells.
No, it's the truth, and people like drama. We know that,
Hmm.
and but at the same time, when they're in control of what stories they publish and the information that they share, um, you know, when you own the information, they can bend it all they want, like John Mayer said. So, they can tell us whatever we want to hear and feed off of those things. But we do need to balance ourselves out, especially in our community. We have enough that we've already had, whether it's systematic or just day by day. We're still playing catch up.
Yeah.
So we need more positive images and more positive connections because we already have other things stacked against us. So I'm my dad, he likes to come and tell me, well, you need to know about this. You need to know. I'm like, Dad, no, I don't. I only got X amount of space in my mind, and it's very little for nonsense. I got enough stuff going on. I'm not about to turn that TV on, because I do like to focus on the positive side. So call me silly, but that's me.
Right.
Works for me.
Speaking of positive, Erica, what inspired you to start this journey towards launching your own event venue?
Oh my goodness. So one of the things I tell people when I'm also a real estate coach, and one thing I tell people, because I've been investing in real estate for several years, is I let the house tell me what it needs. Let the house tell me what it wants. So walking into a house or looking at, a house on paper and the numbers, if it needs to be a flip, it'll be a flip. If it needs to be a rental, it'll be a rental. If it needs to be an Airbnb, it'll be an Airbnb. So this particular house that I saw, it landed with me. It was actually driving by, believe it or not, and I wasn't looking. I saw an event venue the moment I saw it. I saw where everything was gonna go, and it really spoke to me. And somebody called me the house whisperer one time. I said I'll take it because it really does lay out. If this was a movie, and somebody was saying what's happening in my brain, I can see it immediately. And that's what I saw with this house. And so to specifically answer your question, as an event planner, I one of the big challenges I notice, especially in our community, when we want to have a gathering, we want to get together, we want to get people together, there's this huge hurdle, and it's always the venue. And the people that own the venues, they charge a lot of money most of the time, for the venue space. And so that makes it hard for us to connect when, if I've got to pay you $800 just to have a networking, with women meeting, I'm not making any money. I can't take the L. So what do? I end up not having it. Or I have to have it at someone's house at such a small capacity that it may not come to life the way that I envisioned it. So seeing this house and the way that it all laid itself out, and understanding that challenge, even myself, there are a lot of events that I don't plan because I'm just not going to go in the hole trying to hope I sell enough tickets to make a profit. That's work. I'm not working to work. That's not what I'm in it for. So yeah, so that's the reason why our community needs more control over venues to get together, safe spaces, especially for me, and now that my kids and I have survived domestic violence, and where we are today, knowing the places that we feel comfortable, that's very, very important. And a lot of times I may not want to go out to a place that's cold and drafty or too
Yeah.
big, or that you can't control the people that are in the room. So all of those reasons culminate and definitely landed to me believing this is something that I need to work for and that we really need.
Wow. Also, can you share what kind of events or experience you envision in this event that you'll be hosting?
Oh, do you mean at the new venue?
Yeah, at the new venue.
Okay. And I say it like that because I actually have been operating out of a smaller venue, and now this is moving to a bigger space. But so there's a room that is the ballroom, and that's going to be great, whether it's for dances or dance classes or lessons or company mixers, and it opens off until the pool patio. And then there's another room that's the tea room. So it's fully decorated and floral for, just beautiful baby showers, wedding showers, and tea parties, of course, book clubs. Those are the type of people that I work with. And the room is decorated beautifully. And that also opens off to the garden patio. And then we have a library that I want to share with wellness groups, that when you come by, either you're taking wedding portraits or, even if it's boudoir portraits in that beautiful library. We have that across from the formal dining room. It's also a bed and breakfast. We also have a casita for overnight stay guests for the Airbnb. So, and then pool parties and house parties. Don't forget about that. I'm all things house party. I love house parties because I like the intimacy, and I like people just being able to connect on a real casual basis. So those are the main events, the corporate mixers, also just mixing, and also the workshop. I know I'm keep talking, but it's just so many cool spaces. We have a wood workshop that's great for like painting with a twist classes and paint parties and things like that. So those are the main ones, but I could keep going. and
That's
weddings.
so. Let's get into some of the things that you're going to be needing or something you're going to be doing. You're offering a fixed ROI sponsorship and with even equity. How can potentially supporters decide which option is best for them?
Well, someone would have to figure that out individually. It depends on your goals. So every meeting that I start or have, I always ask first, what are your goals? What are you working on? What are you trying to accomplish? And once I figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish, I can help you figure out what path you might want to take if you don't know. For example, I spoke to someone just yesterday. She does sound baths. And so she's into like kind of like a wellness coach into sound baths. And she was
Hmm.
interested in a sponsorship package. But she also didn't want to only do the sponsorship package because she's so new and she doesn't have a large following. So she didn't want to pay for the sponsorship package and not see a return. So I said, it sounds like you want a hybrid. And so a hybrid is she's going to pay the money, get an ROI, a return on her investment, a percentage, right? But she's also going to be able to use the space. And using the space is not going to cost her anything extra. So I have packages in there for people that, especially event planners, or if you're planning corporate events or you're a retreat builder, that's perfect because you're already paying for the use of the space. And the cool thing about it is since the property has so many different areas on it, it's perfect for something like retreats or mixers because you can do one thing in the ballroom and then you can move to the tea room for the tea party and you can move out to the garden patio to have, your downtime. So it depends on where someone is. If they have like just disposable income and they don't want to actively do something and they just might want their money to do better than it's just sitting in a bank, then they might just want an ROI. They might want a return on their investment and just pay the money and then get the payback on the percentage. So it just really depends on what people are trying to do. We have a lot of this property has 10 different profit centers. So we have a lot of different spaces and then we have a lot of different ways that the profits can be made.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you,
Mhm.
is there a spot there for a radio station to be there?
Of course. In fact, I know you laughing, but we're gonna put a podcast studio in one of the rooms
Okay,
because the
okay.
property has, I think it's about 7 rooms, and so we're gonna dedicate one of them to a podcast studio. So yes, Ron, there's space for you too.
Okay, because I'm operating out. I got an office right now in the house and everything, but I'm not gonna lie to you. It gets boring sitting here.
Hey, well, come
Pe-
on by because
Yeah.
we're also gonna run it like a country club too. So if you want to come on by and it's like Ron's in the house, who wants to get on the mic?
Oh, you are something else. That's what I missed, that laugh with you. So, what will make your venue different from others in the area, and what's the unique touch you be bringing to this space?
Well, the different from others in the area is definitely the fact that it's an intimate space. So even though it's a large property, it's a controlled intimate space. For example, and sometimes we need a hotel ballroom, right? But if you go to a hotel ballroom, you do have to share the space of the parking lot. You do have to share who else is in the hotel. And sometimes that works. But then sometimes you want things a little bit more intimate. If you're dealing with people that are on wellness or survivors of something specific, you might want some intimacy to control your environment better. So there's more control of the environment, but enough space for you to have your function and have a successful event. So that would be the first thing that I would say separates us. The second big thing is the fact that we have a lot of different types of spaces under one roof. For example, like I said earlier, if you want to do ballroom classes, we've got the ballroom. But then if you want to just let loose and have a pool party, there's the pool. And if you want to, do your tea party, you got the tea party. So, and then, for people that even need overnight stays, we have room for overnight guests as well. So the uniqueness, and honestly, I'm not sure if this has been done before because I don't know that you can get all these different spaces with overnight lodging in one place, and have a private control of your event. So I don't know if that exists anywhere. And then what was the other question you asked me? Or did I answer it fully?
Oh, well, yeah, the area and unique touch. Yeah, you brought all that up.
Okay.
The unique touch. So, What stage are you currently at in the developmental process of it? And what are the next key steps you need to make?
So we are the property's under contract. We're scheduled to close next month on the property. So right now we are doing pre-sales for anyone that wants an opportunity to get their event on the calendar first before it goes public. So we are accepting pre-sales for booking and everything like that. And the cool thing is we're going to move everything from my smaller venue now into this venue. And the only thing we have to do is new floor, paint, and light fixtures, and that's it. So we're going to be opening by August 1st, hopefully before that, but by August 1st, we're talking open for events. And so, the stage that we're at is these final stages of making sure we collect enough money for the down. I've already paid to have it under contract. It's already been inspected. All these things have happened along the way. So now I'm just in the last phases of fundraising to make sure there's enough money for the down. So that's why there's opportunities to get in before July 15th if anyone's interested in investing or the sponsorship packages, because after that, I'm going to cut it off because once we're across that finish line, I
Yeah.
mean, the prices, they're going to have to
Ooh.
increase if everybody
Ooh.
doesn't get in now.
I'm going to sweet talk you so I get a good price.
That's
Um,
okay. We working together, so it's all good.
oh yeah, because we gonna get this out. And you know what you're talking about August 1st, that's like today's July 1st.
Yeah,
You're
it's
looking
30
at
days.
30 days.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
serious about it. I mean, you got to remember, I found this property 2 years ago. So
Mm,
this is not a brand new idea. The business plan is 51 pages and there's a business proposal. So this is very detailed. I've been laying in the bed dreaming about this property before it
yeah.
ever landed back in my lap. So I know what to do. I just, put
Mhm.
me in coach kind of situation. It's just a matter of collecting all the funds, all the pledges that we have. We're putting them all together to make sure that we can sign on the dotted line on time.
Mm. So why do you think this is the right time for this kind of investment for the community space in San Antonio?
We know that for our community, it's a little bit more challenging for us to get some things done. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the hurdle of a venue, the hurdle of the cost. And so we are not going to be able to pull ourselves out of some of those challenges if we don't work together. And there's no time like now. We already know the political climate of what we're dealing with. We
Yes.
need to be able to have control of spaces where we can get together and plan and talk and do all the things that we need to do together. That's something that we needed to do before now, and we definitely want to do it now. So, when you can, it's nothing like that face-to-face situation. COVID taught us that, right? Even
Yeah.
though we do a lot of things virtually, we know that after a while we want to get out and we want to see, reach out and touch somebody's hand. So, so it's no time like the present for us to stop complaining about what San Antonio doesn't have to offer for our community and make something happen and make some wrinkles and some waves. So I think one of the quickest and most efficient ways to get that to happen is for us to work together. And there's no time like the present before, because the way I don't know how you look at it. I'm not about to make this political because I'm not that politically inclined. But the way I look at it is we've seen a wave, the whole ICE situation and all that nonsense. I'm like, who's next on the list? Who do y'all think is next? That's the way I look at it. So if
Yeah.
you want to be smart about being able to be in control of your spaces and your ownership, now's the time to get in and now's the time to work together instead of waiting till something else gets a little bit wonky.
You said something without saying it. And what I got for what you was talking about was going on is like bringing the village back.
Hmm.
We have to rely on each other. Forget what's going on in Washington. We can't control that, but we can control where we're at right now on what we want to do. And that's what we need to do. And what you're saying, it hits dead on. It starts at home. Take care of home, and home will take care of you. And
Ron, you just gave me chills.
what's that?
You just gave me chills. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Okay, but that's what's going on, what we need to do, and people don't understand that. Now, me myself personally, anything you need, Erica, anything you need from me, I'm there for you. I'm letting you know that right now up front. And I told you that many times. And let's go back when I first met you and how you evolved to where you're at right now. Yes, you confided in me of everything that was going on in your life. And I remember I sat up and told you, I said, Erica, don't worry about it. Imagine yourself where you be at years from now. And I said, I know it's hard right now what you're going through, but I was looking at the bright side for you before you even seen the bright side. I said, it's going to come to you. Just be patient. And look where you at right now. You're right where you want to be. You're finding places that you weren't looking for. That's a blessing by itself. And if anybody won't tell you this, I'll tell you this. I heard, I sing, and I'm proud of you or where you at right now. And one thing that I want to say before I end, well, before I get finished, get on my soapbox is, um, you have a heart for the community and a space for the community. Of all the trial and tribulations you went through, your thought was mainly helping the community out. And it takes a big heart to do
Well, your name is Ron, it's not Oprah. So you need to stop because I'm not about to cry today. All right. I got too many meetings lined up, Ron. We're not doing that. Okay. You did give me chills though, because one thing that really stands out, and everybody doesn't know my story, but with all the things that my kids and I went through, that was my first time in my life understanding the value of a village and the value of what having that village and support system will do, because I am extremely passionate about people surviving divorce and domestic abuse, because there was a lot of pain and there's a lot that went to get out of something that I just innocently wanted better for myself. And when you want to get better for yourself, you don't deserve all that other stuff that comes with it sometimes. And so I'm extremely passionate about empowering women to make sure they have the education and the information so they don't end up in that space. And my parents and my best friend were there for me 100%. Like they kept me alive, and I mean that, them and my kids. So it's very important to have a village. And I told my children, because they had to go through the psychological and emotional adjustment of once having a dad and then having somebody that decides that he doesn't want to be their dad anymore. That does something to your brain. And I told them, I said, family is not always blood. You get a chance to
that.
decide now who you're going to have in your family. And so a village mindset is definitely what I went through, what I have now, and what I went through to survive. And now, I'm coming up. There was a lot of climbing, there was a lot of depression, there were a lot of things that I had to overcome. And so, I did get from a phase of saying, not why me, but now, well, why not me? Who was I in high school? I was the one from forming the justice community and joining unions, standing together in concern for equity and all this other stuff. And so I'm honestly, after I got divorced, I went right back to the things that were passionate about me. That's how I know I'm in flow and I'm where I need to be. So I really appreciate everything that you said to me, that input in me, even when I was really, really down, trying not to be out. All those things matter. And this phase of life right now is really a culmination of all those things coming together. So yeah, community and village building is extremely, extremely important.
Mm,
And after we have control of a space where we can have healing and connection, there will be so much more of that coaching going on, so much more of that
yeah.
reaching out into the community, because that's very important to me and it's important to my children because we went through it. And then I'll say this, one thing that I plan on sharing one day on these public speaking platforms. I got to get past one hurdle to the
All
next,
right.
but one thing that's important to me is for people to understand it could happen to you. I was a real estate investor. I was a housewife for 17 years. I didn't mess with anybody. I just took care of my kids and my spouse at the time, loyal. And for me to end up in the spot that I was, lost all that I lost, if it hadn't been for that village and for that family, where would I be? And so, how many other women are out there that don't have what I had? This
Amen.
country is built on money, and my parents just happen to have enough money to pull me out and support us. But there are plenty others that are going to need help from someone else. So we just have to connect the dots and connect each other.
Amen to that one because woo, we could have a show about that, a whole show, 2 hours about that.
Yes.
But you know, when somebody tell their story and it takes them a while to have the courage to tell that story, they just don't know. You helping others out there who's in the same predicament or worse. But they hear your story and say, man, if she could do it, I could do it too. And it's just a matter of getting the word out and letting everybody know. Because man, I'm telling you, it's a dog eat dog world out there, and we should be able to share things with people. Don't have it. You have all the answers, but you're not going to share with nobody. Why?
Right, right. And that's why, like we've been saying, village mindset, community. I distinctively can tell you how I had to make a decision on who I was going to be after going through that. And I call it my Harvey Dent moment. I said, they're trying to make a villain out of me. Harvey Dent, Two-Face from Batman, he was a good guy. Tragedy happened. He had a choice to make, and he decided to be Two-Face and the villain. And I said, I remember my villain moment trying to decide, who am I going to be? Do I want to be
Yeah.
this or do I want to be that? And I just so happened to choose the other side that wants to care about the community. But I said that to say we all have traumas and pains. And sometimes until
Mhm.
you hear someone else's story, you don't know how to handle it. You don't know that there are other options. So back to the point, like I made earlier, it's extremely important for us to have control of our own environments to be able to connect and do these things.
Amen. Golly. I think I'm gonna hang around you a little more often. I mean, listening to you and stuff, I'm just astounded on where you were and where you are right now. You just don't know that. My heart just been dancing with joy hearing your story. And I think that's something else. Well, let me ask you one last final question.
Mhm.
One thing you want every listener to take away from this conversation today about your event center, what would that be?
People think that things are too big or that we can't have them. I notice every now and then some conversations I'll have with people and they're walking around with a glass ceiling over their head and I can see it. Um, but it's not too big when you work together.
Hmm.
It's not too big when you put, a small piece here, a small piece there. If you work together, all the pieces will come together. So just like I say that, even like I said, I'm in a fundraising phase, right? Some people see a number and they're like, oh, I don't see that happening. But they don't know all the pieces of all the pain and all the tragedy and all the plotting and all the planning and all the dreaming and all that came together to get here. So we need to stop having that glass ceiling, stop thinking that you can't do when you can. You just have to connect the dots and you have to be able to work together.
Yeah.
I systematically, there's the crabs in a barrel concept, and sometimes people are afraid to do things. I understand fear, I understand that, but the leap, I honestly believe I'm like the greatest showman. I love that movie. And I'm not saying I'm on his level. That's not what I mean. I'm saying I'm crazy like him. So, and I'm okay to admit it because everybody's not. But it only takes one person that's crazy enough to put a conglomerate of people together. So, that would be what I would say. Don't be afraid of joining in something that your heart is telling you is right. Out of fear, fear is the opposite of progression. It's gonna get in the way. And so if we just work together, then we can get it done.
You know, you said something that I did January 1st. I decided not to charge for commercials and not to charge for going out doing live remotes. And
Mm,
what I did, because when I was telling people the numbers, the prices, you know how they back off, oh no, that's too much. I can't do it, can't do this. So I went like that. Somebody said, are you crazy? I said, no, this is what I'm doing. Donate to my nonprofit. For whatever I do for you, donate to my nonprofit. I'll be honest with you. That was one of the best moves I could have made.
yeah,
Because now I got something coming in almost weekly. And
look at that.
before I couldn't rub two nickels together.
Isn't that something?
And so I decided to go that route. And I'm sticking to that route right there because it's working for me. So somebody asked me one time, he said, so you did a commercial for me. I donate only $5, so you get a $5 worth of commercial.
Oh gosh, what does
Just,
that look like?
yeah, just messing with him. He said, oh, I never thought of it like that.
That's funny.
But like what you're doing, and I'm doing the same because right now I have to get some sponsors and things I need to do because I want to take this to another step where I'm at right now. I want a whole production studio. I want all that going on. So that's what I see in the future for the radio station. And listen to you. I said, wow, if she could do it, I could do it too. You
Hey,
know,
amen.
just us
Amen.
talking, you influenced me to do the things and you know what? I already got a business plan already written up.
There you go.
It's
See,
already done.
there you go. Look, if I can push anybody into uh being more free, I'm about it. I'm
And I'm
with
gonna
it.
blame you if everything goes into place.
Oh
This is Erica's fault. I wouldn't have all this one for Erica.
no. Wow. Look, if you're gonna blame me now, you got to give me some credit too. You can't have it one way. Let's
Well, that's gonna
I,
give you credit. I
okay,
wouldn't be
well,
here one for Erica. No, I'm playing. I'll give you all the glory. Regardless, I don't have to have anything to give you the glory.
wow.
I'm giving it to you now. Well, so that's just how it is. Because you got to believe in the things you're gonna do. If you don't believe it, who else is gonna believe it?
That's so true because you're gonna get a whole lot of no's before you get your yeses. So I can tell
Ooh.
you about that.
I
Woo.
know, Rob, but I gotta say this. When I first started this radio station 11 years ago, I thought people would be happy. You know what they told me? Oh, you're not gonna make it.
Oh
Huh?
wow.
Already being negative? And the same person that said that here I am 11 years later, I ran across them 2 months ago. Hey, guess what? What? I made it.
I made it. Hey.
And they didn't say what just turned around and walked away.
Wow.
So,
Well, some people walk around with that in them, and
mm,
what I tell you, that glass ceiling, and
yes.
yeah,
Give me a
it's
rock so I can break it.
you're right, right. I'm with that.
All
I'm
right.
with
Any last things you want to tell everybody how to get a hold of you and all that good stuff?
I am the Erica Powers on all platforms, Erica Powers. So just reach out, send me a message. Doesn't matter what platform it is. If you have any questions, I can send you a link. I can show you images of the new venue, some sponsorship plans. If you're thinking about investing, I can lay that out for you. But I'm easy to find. The Erica Powers on all platforms. Just reach out and holler at me to set something up.
All right. When you get that time when you sign everything, please be back on the show so we could get a needle and pop that balloon because I know your head gonna be get this big once you sign.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Trust me, it won't because
I know you're humble.
this is too many people working together to see this
Yes.
happen. So this is not a me thing. I'm just bold enough to put, to actually do the crazy parts. So but I'm
Mhm.
definitely not doing it alone.
When you said it's not a me thing, I was talking to a politician that was running, and she said this one thing: it's not a me thing, it's a we thing.
Mhm.
And that stuck with me. How sometimes you talk to people, certain words you remember. You can't remember
Mhm.
the whole speech, but remember
Right.
some of those key words in it. And I
Right.
remember that key word in it. And man, when she said that, it's just like the mic dropped.
Wow. That's what
You
you
know?
needed to hear. That's what resonated.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right, Miss Powers, you take care until next time. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to WSAN Radio. Catch us on our YouTube channel, WSAN Radio SA. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button.